Budjari Nami Darug Narawa, or good to see you on Darug country. My name is Crystal and I'm a learning producer with the Museums of History New South Wales. Today, we're at the historic Rouse Hill Estate for this session on object-based learning. Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge that this house museum is built on Aboriginal land. And as we tread gently on this country, I'd like to pay my respect to the Darug people and to elders past and present and all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. Rouse Hill is in northwest Sydney, near Windsor. This house was built and completed in 1818 by English settlers Richard and Elizabeth Rouse. They lived here with their 9 children as well as their servants who worked in the house and in the surrounding farm. This house is significant because 6 generations of the Rouse family lived here at this property and their house and objects are original. So the 2 ideas we're going to be looking at today are: what is the value of teaching history through objects and how do we engage students through object-based learning? Objects are central to what museums can offer to students and teachers for learning that schools cannot readily do in classrooms. Within all our programs, objects are used to teach students about historical inquiry. In our programs, we put our objects into context and use a range of primary, original artefacts, or replicas if our original artefacts are too delicate or rare. Our replica artefacts are made using traditional methods. In combination with our objects, we ask a series of questions that allow students to think critically about the past. The object then becomes the bridge between the past and the present. There are 3 main reasons why object-based learning is valuable to the teaching of history. It is engaging, that is, it stimulates curiosity and imagination. Secondly, it is inclusive. A diverse range of students can interact with the object. And thirdly, object learning helps to teach historical understanding by making the abstract past more tangible. So, let's look at a learning program that we deliver here at Rouse Hill Estate. We deliver a Year 5 and 6 program called Expanding the Colony. In this 90-minute program, students explore the historic farm, they investigate the water management, land management, and its impact on the Darug people here at Rouse Hill. This program is linked to the Stage 3, or Year 5, Year 6 history curriculum. So our program links to the key inquiry questions. What do we know about the lives of people in Australia's colonial past, and how do we know? How did an Australian colony develop over time and why? How did colonial settlement change the environment? Linking to the curriculum makes our program relevant to teachers. And then, when they're here on site, by incorporating object-based learning, we are giving students an experience that they cannot have in the classroom. We integrate objects in a variety of ways here at Museum of History New South Wales. Here's an example of one. This is a doll's dress from the Rouse's children. It's a replica. And we use it to discuss the different ways children played in the past. This here is a flat iron that we use to discuss changing technologies within our society. Working in collaboration with the Darug community, we also use objects made by Darug knowledge holders that speak to the First Nations history and continuing custodianship of the sites that sits on the land of the Burruburungu of the Darug Nation. It's with this object that we are going to show you a snippet of our program today. Let me introduce you to Eva, a fellow learning producer at NSW. She is going to show you a small snippet of our program, answering the question, how important was the environment to the traditional way of life of the Darug people?
All right, students, come in really close because we're going to have a close look at this object here. What do you think it is?
Notice that Eva has asked an open-ended question, inspiring students to get them to look at the object and think about what it's being used for. She does this instead of telling them what the object is.
That's right, it's an axe. And in the Darug language, this is actually called a MoGo. Now can you see, what is it made out of?
Again, Eva has invited students to investigate and examine the object, looking for details.
beautiful answers. Yes, so we've got this stone head here, which has been sharpened. And this is actually sharpened on a stone to make it nice and sharp on this side. You can see the handle, it's made out of wood. Actually 2 pieces of wood that have been attached together with tree resin, which we can see here at the top. So the Darug people had many different skills that they would use in their traditional way of life. Let's have a look at a painting, have a close look at how this would have been used. This is a painting which was made sometime between 1788 and 1797. The date is not known exactly, but the name of the artist is also not known, so he's referred simply as the Port Jackson painter. This image shows the Sydney area, possibly Sydney Cove, and these are most likely Darug people. The Darug people who lived here at Rouse Hill would have used similar methods for sourcing food, like you can see in the artwork.
We always like to use sources from the area, but in this case, it wasn't possible. We used another source and referenced it for historical accuracy.
So can you see the MoGo in the artwork? Very good. So you can see the young man is carrying it in his hands. And how are the men climbing this tree in the image?
This question invites deeper investigation, linking the MoGo to its use.
So gum trees have very smooth trunks, but the young man in the picture is managing to climb up it using a MoGo, actually to cut little holes for his hands and feet. They're not killing the tree by doing this, but they're creating these toe holds so they can climb up the tree on the bark. And why? What are they hunting up in the trees? That's right, at the very top you can see a possum and a bat. So up in the treetops you might find foods like honey, birds, eggs, or even snakes. So this MoGo was made for us by Darug people who continue to use their traditional tools and practices today. This has been passed down through generation to generation.
Here, students have linked the MoGo with the painting to learn about how food was being sourced here on Darug land. Thank you, Eva, for doing that demonstration for us. Can I just ask, what is the most interesting thing that the students find about object handling?
I think they really enjoy getting the chance to touch the object and they find that really interesting. And then they can feel it and turn it around and they get into that investigative work and that really pulls them forward.
And why do you think it's so effective in teaching students about the past?
I think it's because they're doing their own inquiry. They get to choose the way that they're looking at it and they get to really think for themselves when they're handling the object. And it's kind of linking them back to the area of history that we're talking about through touching it. They're kind of understanding, oh, this is how it feels in the hand. Oh, that makes sense that it would be used in this way. So I think it makes everything really tangible and it's also really fun. So they're having a good time.
Today, we have shown you one example of how we've used objects within our learning programs. There are many opportunities for you to use objects as well. But remember, objects that are handled by students may get broken, so consider what you are handing out as part of your program, or maybe you can use replicas that students can handle. At the end of the day, it's the way the objects are being introduced that make it a magical experience.